Is Around the Bend, home of the BTCC fan group, with me, Sean and Bart, and I'm Steve Ryder, and welcome to. He isn't really. I just thought I'd put the Steve Ryder intro in there. We've actually managed to find. Right, I've got to say something before we start. Much respect to Mr. Tim Harvey, because I've got a video of his car parked up in the paddock area, right? And his private plate has got a slogan across the bottom, and it says Tim Harvey, also known as the Buffet Slayer.
What car was it?
It was an AMG Merc 6.3 litre, mate, with every single trick that you could have. There was literally families living in the exhaust pipes. It was that big.
I take it that's his own car then, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That would when we can put the side view on, but evidently I don't want to put his number plate on for his personal reasons. But yeah, it was just what a machine. You can tell he's made his money driving it. And the only giveaway that it says it's got a BRDC logo on the back tailgate. Yeah, so Oulton Park, what a weekend! Actually managed to attend one, so it was.
Yeah, you went there, didn't you?
Yeah, we've got some video footage that we haven't sent Sean as yet because of the unique way Google Drive transfers files. Yes, but we are at the moment just trying to upload some of the stuff across to him. So I managed to blag my way into the pit area prior to it being open to the public. So we've got some little bits of shots, like, you know, the MSA Formula stuff and whatever, where we really shouldn't have been. And yeah, so there's going to be some bits with that. I've actually found a TV big enough for Sean's Project Cars addiction, which is the ITV4 fan television, which turns up on two articulated trucks. And even my wife turned around and said, all we could see is Sean sitting in the field of Oulton with his, you know, an Xbox controller or a PS4 controller. Me and you.
With a concentrated face like... Oh.
Yeah. Just me and you, mate. Me and you on Grid Autosport or something. Just got that massive screen. That'd work, that would, dude. We ought to do that as a we ought to get this built up big enough so that actually becomes a thing. So people actually come over,
And hopefully, if BTCC teams actually see me driving, they say, "Oh, look, he's very good. I think OT, come on." It's like, yeah, I'll happily do that.
It's work for GT Academy, mate. That's all I can say. Speaking about that, don't forget as well today, it is Le Mans 24-hour, which is also another highlight in the world's motorsport calendar. And there's loads of free stuff on the internet for that. So you're most probably going to watch this in hindsight, but yeah, I hope you enjoy the race. So that's good. British touring cars, the first race, all I can say was, what was Plato drinking? Because he was a country mile ahead of everybody. There was no two ways about it. We were stood at Clay Hill at the end of the first lap, and he was the full length of a straight between first and second. That BMR car was set up really well that day, and yet it wasn't. I expected to see Turkington a lot higher up than he was as well.
He struggled, didn't he? I think he made a mistake in the island bend. He went round the long way, so he went down from about 7th to about 28th or something like that. But Turkington struggled there. But also, what you're saying with Plato just dominating, I think this is the start of what Plato's going to be doing throughout the upcoming races. I mean, the race has been great, but and also the points, the lead keep changing hands. But after Plato at Oulton Park, I think he's just going to romp away with it.
I honestly believe the dark horse for this. I mean, Shedham was the only person who could live with Plato that weekend. It really was.
He came close though in the second race to him.
Yeah, and I really want to say at this point as well, my dark horse for the championship still is Andy Jordan, because there was something changed in that team that week at the weekend. You could actually see the car was running better, and we met him in the paddock, and he was a lot happier than I've seen him in previous races. I mean, like, you know, once he come off the podium, he was buzzing. He was really buzzing. For race 3. So it was, you know, I think that car, he's finally getting into his groove with it. I think he's really finding his feet. But it was a great weekend. BTCC news. I mean, we haven't spoke to each other since the last time we did this really properly. So, I mean, I know you've been working and trying to get some other people and everything involved on the show, which is great.
Yeah.
But you've got some Infinity news and stuff like that as well that perhaps I've missed.
Yeah, I want to hear your from this here, Bob. Is Infinity? Why are they causing so much commotion and controversy in their very first season? Why are they doing it? Are they demanding immediate success, or?
I think what's happened with a lot of Infinity's stuff, to be perfectly honest with you, is Infinity are actually connected evidently through Nissan into the Renault empire, which evidently have got majorly strong links with Red Bull. And I've got to admit, when they announced they came into the BTCC with Andy Jordan being a Red Bull athlete, I just naturally assumed that they poach Andy Jordan. I didn't see Andy Jordan going to MG. I just didn't see that one coming. I thought naturally those two would be a fit. I think it's a shame for the help the paras part of the team side of things. Their whole ethos about how they go racing and how they prepare, and the fact that they have like the army guys on the grid instead of the grid girls and all that lot. I mean, as a marketing thing, they are a really slick, switched on team, and I don't understand why Infinity. What really gets me about these companies is they commit for a season, and then 4 races in, they pick the ball up and go home, and it just doesn't seem to be right.
Yeah, I was reading off an article off TotallyBTCC.com because I picked something up that was actually quite interesting. It says the last few weeks have been difficult for the Supporter Paris racing team after the car manufacturer Infinity has pulled its backing from the team. That was amidst confusion following the apparent replacement of Richard Hawkins for Thruxton with this Martin Donnelly thingy. But
you see, Martin Donnelly again, and I don't know if you've ever seen it because there's evidently age difference between us. But have you ever seen Martin Donnelly's accident that he had in Formula One?
At Jerez, 1990.
Yeah, and I'm just like, the fact that guy's even driving a car, but that shocked me as well because he's since that accident he's been seriously connected to Lotus, and he has a lot to do with Lotus GT Cups, especially throughout Europe. So the thought of him moving into the BTCC and it not being a manufacturer, not being so tied to a manufacturer, I couldn't see how they would let him just to come into the BTCC like that. When he does, he's an ex-F1 driver, and as we know with ex-F1 drivers and people who've got to F1 and then ended up driving, BTCC cars, they tend to go very, very well. So, I think going forward, Donnelly's going to really have massive input into that team, and the team will make massive leaps forward just on car setup, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think because there was also talks when at the Thruxton race that Martin Donnelly's not allowed to race in BTCC, and then we seen the news like a couple of days later when it's like Friday before the weekend of Thruxton Day, and you see Martin Donnelly is going to drive for Infinity, and then in Open Park they only had one Infinity car out on track. So, what is going on?
I think it comes down to a lot of the sponsorship and the marketing that they're hoping to get out of it. I mean, perhaps, as the new registrations come up, they thought by getting involved with the BTCC, it would sell more vehicles. And it tends to be the fleet, the business books go through on new regis before, the Joe Public. So perhaps they were having all this hype around the BTCC. They filled their order books and they've just gone, right, we expected to sell 10,000 cars out of this. We sold 10 or 15,000 cars out of this already. It's like cut the losses and go. And, it could be that they have different visions for what's going on going forward, Do
you think Infinity have been a little bit too quick with it? Do you think it was a mistake that they were actually a car manufacturer instead of like an independent team like
I honestly think with Infinity they've missed a trick, because surely the smart money with Infinity and its Red Bull links would have been to get some Red Bull juniors in. So get some 17, 18-year-old kids You know, I mean, you look at the 17-year-olds they've got on their books right now as a Red Bull Junior. Max Verstappen being the number one, obviously. You know,
which I don't rate. I don't rate him at all.
No, but stick him in a touring car.
Yeah.
You know, stick him in a touring car. The fact that they've had F1, you can just imagine if F1 drivers started turning up in the BTCC paddock, the media frenzy that would be there. You know, I was going to ask Alan Gow on the weekend, but I kept walking off. It may have had something to do with me repeatedly pointing and shouting at him, "You are Alan Gow," which I did. I was trying to get a hold of a flag so I could write on it, because I found something out about BTCC meetings. Every race, he drives a Porsche that sits behind the doctor's car, and he does the first lap and then goes in the pits.
Yeah.
So if you want to get any messages to Alan Gow, stand at the back of the grid with a flag. It's a pretty good, because he's standing there for at least 2 or 3 minutes. He will definitely see it. You know, so that's one perhaps for Thruxton there, Sean. Next year, we need more barriers on this bend. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing about Infinity, because you wouldn't have thought that they would have pulled out because of the. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's the connection to the paratroopers and the Help for Heroes thing, and it's bad PR to start messing about with people like, you know, who are in that situation, you know.
Yeah, I think that's like, you know, very bad publicity, and I don't know if any other sponsors would take them on after the treatment that they're getting from Infinity as well. So I mean, that doesn't help too.
No, not at all. So, what was your interesting parts then from watching it on the TV as well, then, mate?
What was there? I thought the racing at OULTON was just the same as last year, but a little bit better. But it was just, there was not a lot of overtaking.
No.
You know, I think the only time that you can only gain a position is if a driver went off.
Yeah, I've got to admit, my big disappointment, and one I wanted to ask you about, was what was the drive-through for Adam Morgan in race 3?
Not a clue.
Because he just went. I mean, there was no way they were going to catch him at that rate. I just don't know. We were at the back end of the lap, and we were between speakers, and because of the sheer volume of people there, we couldn't, you know, and we just saw him peel off and go into the pits, and I was like, you know, I didn't see that one coming. Nothing went wrong.
I didn't see the race 3 start because I was in the kitchen doing something, but you know, I just seen, oh, look at that, Morgan's got a good start, and then all of a sudden he's just got a
drive through. I've got to admit, I've got to admit, the driver that I felt the most sorry for all weekend was Andy Wilmot. His car sounded like it needed a Lemsip, bless it. It was coughing and spluttering all the way around all the races. And he had, I think it was the middle of race 2, it sort of the car cured itself for about 7 laps. And it was flying. I'd love to see him in a bigger team. I really would. There's something about him. He deserves to be there. He really does.
Yeah. Also, as well, speaking of Andy Wilmot and all that, I think you have to give like a well done as well to his teammate Dan Welch, because he scored his first point of the season. He got a point in the 3rd race. But
I love their YouTube channel. Dan's a great media guy. He's one of those BTCC drivers that once he stops his driving career, he really needs to start commentating, because he's a very funny guy, really good.
Yeah, I was going to say the good news is that, you know, that Dan Welch got a point, but the bad news is that they were docked 20 points in the team's championship for 2 engine changes.
Nice.
Yeah.
It just, you know, it gets me, because everything about that team is right, apart from the car.
I would say the engine. I'd say I think we talked on this before. If you'd stick like a BTCC engine in it, they'll go better instead of a Proton actual engine.
It's manufacturers, though, mate. That's you know, that's down to the sponsorship deals he's got, really. I've got to admit, there's a lot of teams. We tend to talk about the championship battle because it's so exciting and things, but like you know, some of the people we managed to speak to as we were going around at the weekend. I've got to meet Stuart Lyons and Kieran Gallagher. Those two guys were really, really, like, you know, really fun in the paddock. Those guys were. I really want to see those people going further forward in the grid. It's such a shame that car just doesn't seem to. It just seems to be a couple of seconds off the pace to the front runners.
Yeah, it is.
It's very much settled mid-pack, and I don't know where they're going to find the time. It doesn't look like they can find the time in that car.
Especially for Kieran as well, because he's with Team Hard, and Team Hard's quite a well-known like racing group with Tony Gillam and the rest of them as well.
Yeah, I mean,
back then
we stopped off and had a cup of tea in the hospitality for Team Hard, and going forward, I'd highly recommend. If you're going to go and if you're watching this and you're going to go and you're going to pay for the hospitality, either Team Hard or Laser Tools, because I'm not joking, the way they were looking after people was phenomenal.
Also as well, I forgot to mention.
Oh yes.
Yes. Can you see
yeah,
that?
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Kieran was kind enough to sign some stuff and send it off to Sean, so it was great. So yeah, there was a great bit with MGs as well. We got some stuff from MG as well. We couldn't get anywhere near. I've got some footage of trying to get us near to Andy Jordan to ask him some questions, and we just the pit lane was absolutely packed. That is something I do want to get. You know, the get it off your Plato. This week's get it off your Plato is the pathetic amount of time you have for driver signings, because there was about 4,000 people there trying to get in the pit lane, and I'm not joking. There were like 10 deep going in, going out. You had to go in and out the same exit, so you weren't encouraged to walk through, and there was literally 10 minutes. So by the time you'd queued up, we managed to speak to the first two at the back of the grid as we walked in, and that's it. When you go for these things, Oulton Park could have improved that by simply letting them out the bottom gate and having security on, keeping people moving. So the idea is you go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and out of the actual part. And they should put it so it's only too wide, so people can't go down the outside and then start cutting in. It's literally a queue, and it's just a procession, so everybody can get every driver's signature.
What time did they... Go on,
mate. What time of day was it?
Yeah, right. What time did they do the driver signatures and that?
Well, the pit lane. Sorry, it says in the actual brochure, 10:30 it started, and it says it was on for 35 minutes. Right. We were one of the first ones in, and we were out 15 minutes maximum. They started shutting it off, and I don't know whether they were running behind or whatever. And it was a strange one, because we to get in had to get there for 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. But there was no racing till midday. The drivers' parade was at 11:30, and there was no racing till midday, which is great because it stops that lunch break bit in the middle. I can understand the compression for television, but you know, they could have had the drivers signing things in different batches, and they could have done it by each team truck. You know, it's just, this is where it lets itself down sometimes with the BTCC. They just let things happen. And I'm not saying they should restrict access to the drivers, because I mean, you know, the drivers have got to get their race face on and get prepared for the day. Fully appreciate that, but you don't advertise an autograph session if people don't stand a chance with getting anywhere near. You know, there's people with kids and stuff standing in the queue and wanting to meet Jason Plato, and you got no chance. You got no chance. We were one of the first ones in, and you got no. You know, you got no, and if you got down to him and got your signature, you weren't getting back out. You weren't going anywhere else. You were trapped till everybody had finished. It was just a really weird setup. But making people come in and out of the same exit, it's very rare Oulton Park got anything wrong. But I mean, from an incident point of view, it was very, very daft to do that. just it was people getting crushed by the gates and stuff. It wasn't brilliant. They could have organised it much better.
Maybe that should be looked into for the next meeting at Oulton Park. Which
I think to be honest with you, it's something that Alan Gow could do with looking at. Really, is just the access, and it's more a case of, you know, making sure the right people get access. And I know this sounds daft, but like, it's where do you draw the line, isn't it? You know, there's a lot of kids who went disappointed that they didn't meet the driving heroes, and it's a shame because coming through, you need young kids to take the mantle of being BTCC fans. That's it. Rant over.
So, talking about the race of the game, we were talking about Plato winning, dominating the first race before the red flag came out with the incident between Alex Martin and Stuart Lyons and that. But what about the second race with the two teammates, Collard and Prio, on the final lap? Did you manage to see that?
I didn't see that at all because we heard it over the tannoy because we were actually at Clay Hill at that point when that happened, walking around the track on the inside.
Yeah, well, the incident happened at the Island Hill. Is it Island Hill, the hairpin?
Yeah, the hairpin. Yeah.
And Collard was trying to defend his position, and Prio, I don't know who was at fault, if Collard went into Prio or Prio just mistimed the braking and made contact, and you know that was them having respectable finishes, turned into a non-points finish for the both of them. Which was well, obviously David Bart. Who's the manager of Racing?
It's Dick Bennett.
Oh, Dick Bennett. Aye, he was raging.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, Sam Tordoff went in the you know, for that, but I'm not really sure that they are a really strong team this time round. It just seems like something's changed from last season. I don't know whether it's down to how they've done the you know, because he changed all the start procedure with that car, haven't they? And made it have a longer first gear and all sorts of things to try and balance it out.
But they did that midway through the last year, didn't he? But Turkington still had it perfect. And Collard did as well, because he had some strong finishes in the second half of the season. But is it just problems with the car, more, you know, niggly bits within the car? And they're struggling with the new success ballast as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think what will happen is you'll get certain tracks where each car is stronger, if you get what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, Oulton Park traditionally, no matter what car he's in, is Plato's, you know, Plato can almost switch it. And Matt Neal, to some extent as well, can, you know, almost switch the brain off when they go to Oulton Park. They don't have to think about it. It's instinctive round there for them.
They'll know it like the back of the hand. They'll know if they do it blindfolded.
I remember being on a driving day. I'm going back a fair few years now, but I remember being on a driving day, and Matt Neal was testing, and I asked him about Cascades, and I'd got my telemetry back. I was in a little Fun Cup car, and I got my telemetry back, and my speed through Cascades was 72 mile an hour, right?
Yeah.
Matt Neal's was 140, right? So I asked Matt Neal, and this was about, I'm going back a fair few years now. I asked Matt Neal about Cascades and what the perfect line was to take, and he actually said to me he doesn't know because he's never had his eyes open when he's gone through the corner. He just he just goes.
Would he be the same at Church Corner, Frogston?
Yeah, it just like literally, he just goes, I couldn't tell you how I do it because it's just instinct. I just shut my eyes and hope the thing sticks. I shut my eyes and wait for the bang of the barrier. And I was just like, that's why he's in the BTCC and I'm not. But yeah, it's, you know, there's something about that place that's different to most of the other tracks on the calendar. You know,
I think to me it's a very easy track to defend your position.
Yes, it's very narrow. It is very narrow. And what people don't see on the TV is how slippy Oulton Park is as well. Especially Old Hull Corner is like an ice rink, and it doesn't matter whether you approach it wet, dry, whatever. It's you struggle walk around it because it's just had so much oil dropped over the years. It's just embedded in the tarmac. It just
You go in, and if you unless your car's absolutely really set up well for Oulton, you know, it's not the easiest track on the calendar.
No. What would you do to improve it?
To be honest with you, that's its charm, that it's like that. I really think, yeah, it's an unusual setup, an unusual place, because I like, I mean, Donington, for example. It's a brilliant track, but for me personally, and most people get slated for this, but me personally, it's not great for fans, Donington. Since they wrecked the infield with the old F1 debacle, and you can't go in the middle, you've got to start going on the outer part as well. And it's just, you feel distant from the track. Whereas with Oulton Park, because you're on banks and things, you're up in the air, it's naturally, you know, it's naturally made for spectators, with it being a park.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Rockingham as well, and I like Rockingham, but it just feels clinical to me. It just feels, you know, a bit video gamey for me. You know, because you can't get, again, you've got that massive sweeping corner, and after that, really, anywhere I watch from any other corners around that track, it just makes me feel like it's, I don't know, it's not quite Silverstone.
No,
it's an impressive structure. It really is. You know, you go there and you see all the seats at Rockingham and how high they are, and everything. You're going like, well, actually, this has been, you know, this is a proper track.
It's also, to me, I think Rockingham, you see the seats at the stands at the first turn, like the start-finish line and all that. I think that's the only really real bit you can see, isn't it? Like,
yeah, well, you can go on the underneath and then start going out, but yeah, there's no other viewing that I know of. Every time I've been there, and I've been on turn one.
The thing what makes me annoyed is the fact that there's a lot of empty seats as well.
You'll never fill Rockingham. You'll never fill Rockingham. It's got some. I forget the actual capacity. I'm sure somebody will correct me, but the actual bottom two seats, like actually big blocks of seats that are at the bottom end of the track, have never been opened apart from when they had the IndyCar race there. That was the only time they ever packed it. After that, they don't open them because they never filled them.
It's really disheartening as well for the BTCC to see a lot of empty seats there as well.
What I'd like to happen with the BTCC is to them have a round that's a curveball track. Now, I know they have to have certain things for the FIA, and I fully appreciate that. But so, like, they drop around and say, right, okay, we're going to go Brands Hatch, Oulton, Pembury, or Brands Hatch, Oulton, you know, Anglesey. I mean, Anglesey would be amazing for touring cars.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, there's other tracks and everything that they can do. You know, there's other things that you can do for it. A street race. I mean, come on. You saw that Coventry thing on the. Did you see that on the news the other week? They shut part of Coventry's ring road off and were doing demonstration laps around the town centre.
I didn't hear about that one.
And I was just like, City Centre BTCC racing.
They only did Birmingham, didn't they? Street racing in Birmingham.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something now, right? The city that's absolutely primed for it would be Liverpool.
Would it? Wow.
Yeah, there's loads of ring roads going into it and out of it that is just straight. You can have a mile straight on it, on and off ring roads and round, and people could stand up. People could line the streets for it. Barriers up, alcove round.
But usually street tracks are normally narrow, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but you want somewhere where they can get, you know, a little bit of sort of, how can I put it, really tight town centre, and then you want a couple of really big straights in so they can actually, you know, get some speed up and make it a spectacle. I really miss the Birmingham thing. I thought that was brilliant when they did that when I was a kid. You know, that really was something else.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But I still think there's a lot of tracks they don't use that they could use.
Yeah, and we touched upon this way, like in the first time that we did this, like Anglesey and Pembrey, as you said, Cadwell Park, maybe. Well,
yeah, Cadwell. I mean, Cadwell straight away is another MSV track. You know, so it must have the certification needed to run touring cars. You know, I still think there's a lot of tracks they don't use, and it's such a shame, you know.
Mind the new track in Wales.
Yeah, that do you honestly think that's going to happen? Because that's got so many issues.
I've never. All I heard is that they're making a new track in Wales, but I've not heard the issues that they've got.
Midweek Motorsport. If you want to check out RadioLeMans.com and just look on the forums on there, there's been a lot of planning permission issues, noise abatement issues. You know, it's just a real, like, really, yeah. They had to fire the bosses of it for one part of it because some of the investors' money went and all sorts of stuff. It was like, and you only hear bits, you know, and it's a lot of it's hearsay, and I don't want to repeat any of it on here, but it's just, yeah, there's an opportunity, I believe. You know, I mean, it's stuff like they have Goodwood Festival of Speed. Why not use the old Goodwood track? Stick all the current, make it around, but stick all the drivers in historics.
Mind you, though, come to think of it, the pit lane is not the biggest, though, isn't it?
You know, how big does it need to be?
Well, how are you going to get the Clios out in there and the MSA series as well?
Oh, like I say, I mean, you know, they're managing other tighter circuits than that. I mean, look at all the support races that go on at Monaco for the F1, for example. I'm sure they could find something. You know, I'm sure it could work. Just if nothing, you know, it's just what I'd like to see. Really, I think that, you know, Brands Hatch is a great circuit. Don't get me wrong, and it needs to be on the calendar. But does it need to be twice on the calendar?
Nah. See, I was thinking of this as well when I was in the bath, and I was saying, after watching the Donington races earlier this season, I think there should be another Donington race on the tracks.
Yeah, the other one that we were thinking about, but it would cost a fortune to sort the barriers out, would be reverse track races.
Oh, just imagine going through Church Corner reverse now. Ooh.
Yeah. What I'm saying is just go, right, okay. We've got 2 rounds a season that are flip rounds, and what we do is we basically, right, race 2 at Donington this season. They tell you at the start of the season, so you know what's coming, and you just go, right, yeah, race 2 at the start of the season, you'll go backwards, then race 3 will be normal way round again.
Imagine going through Knockhill first down the hairpin.
Imagine them going up the crane of curves at Donington and into the braking zone at the top.
Yeah, you could see probably a lot of cars in the kitty litter.
Around the bend does not condone crashes, but when they do, we hope everybody survives. So what else was on the agenda, mate? You've got some stuff written down there now.
Yeah, I did.
As always, our agenda always goes out the window.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Actually, one thing I didn't want to talk about was MG celebrating 100 races.
Yes, yeah, that was really good, actually. MG had a big presence in the paddock and had a lot of stuff on show. They had a show car and Andy Jordan's a copy of Andy Jordan's BTCC car on the stand and everything. It was really nice.
And you also gave me some stuff as well with them, like that.
Yeah, I managed to get that from MG on the way through. I was trying to get into the queue to get it signed for you, but I couldn't get anywhere near.
No,
as you'll see from the accompanying video, which is most probably going to go in this slot.
There's also this one as well, the history of the cars as well, with Plato and Mark Hines as well. Is that him? Yeah, Mark Hines.
Yeah.
What else did you get me? Oh, the list of drivers as well from the 888 team. So you got, right, hang on a minute. Right, so you got Jack Goff there. You got Andy Neat, Jason Plato.
Get it off your Plato.
And there's Andy Jordan now. Yeah, and also you got me in another one of this as well. Just the spy.
Yeah, just Yeah, and I've got to say as well, actually, a massive, massive thanks have got to go out to Tom Ingram as well, because Mr. Tingram was an absolute superstar this weekend.
Tingram.
Yeah,
Well,
not only did he give us some signed stickers as he gave out to the BTCC paddock, he signed a couple of cards and stuff for me and Sean, and also,
which is there.
oh, you got it up.
Yeah, I've got it up. Yeah, there's his autograph there, and there's the lovely sponsors as well.
Yeah, he was brilliant actually. He wanted to get some other people through that were there was some people who needed disabled access and stuff, and he actually got up from behind his chair and went to them rather than them having to battle through the crowds to get through and whatever. And I didn't see any other driver doing that. So Tingram, respect you, mate. That was a really cool move. He was definitely one to watch. Do you think he'll ever get into one of the major manufacturer teams, Tom Ingram?
I hope so.
Where would you put him?
He's definitely he's obviously got class, because he's a double.
He's a real deal
champion, and he's also very young as well. I mean, he could be like another Tom Chilton. Like, give him an okay car, and then he'll probably go and join one of the bigger teams, like what Tom Chilton did in his early years in the touring cars. Whoever would take him on, I don't know. Maybe. That's a tricky one. Who would take him? Which big team would take Ingram?
You see, honestly, I could see. I was kind of thinking that as Infinity come forward, he'd eventually end up there. But now they've put their support out, it's very difficult to see you place him. I could see him in WSR actually.
See, I was thinking the same as well. Or have a third MG car.
I think that would depend on how long Rob Collard drives for. And I hope Rob's around for many, many years, because he's great value. He's great entertainment, Rob is. Yeah. It's quite funny. It's like we followed one of his vans in for his demolition company into the track. So evidently somebody who works for him was coming up to watch as well, and it was just like, really, it's like he drives that at the weekend and then that's what he drives on the Monday then, is it? You know what I mean? So it's quite funny. Yeah, do you think that Plato's going to just run away with it now? Or do you think, well, here's a question for you. Do you think Plato prefers to be behind and be the underdog? Or do you think he drives better when he's out in front?
I think he drives better out the front. What I was going to say as well about Plato is, in so many years that he's been in the BTCC, I think this is the best that he's ever driven.
I was shocked when he went to BMR. I've got to admit, I was shocked when he went to BMR. I thought that he was coming with all the Tesco sponsorship and all that stuff, and it was like, and he's really played it down. The car's virtually, he's got one insurance broker sponsoring him now, which I forget the name of. And, the car, it just seems to have done it very subtle this time round. He seems to be very much in the mindset that it's his team. Mm-hmm. And him and Turkington are there to guide the team to the front of the grid.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to go there with the connection he got to Alan Menu. Evidently, sticking Alan Menu and Plato next to each other is equivalent to sticking a barbecue next to some petrol. I think so. The best way of doing that. So I didn't, for me, Plato seems to drive even better when he's chasing the championship. If like Matt Neal or Gordon Shedden or Andy Jordan were 20 points in front, he'd be chomping, he'd be really riled up to do it. And I like to see that. I like to see him challenging and going for it. Yeah. I think when he's in the front and people start trying to overtake him, he can get a bit sort of tap happy, can Mr. Plato. And it ruins his reputation a bit. Sometimes he doesn't need to do that. He's a great driver. So why does he need to do that stuff sometimes? It just winds me up.
Well, mind when he was in the MG last year, he couldn't catch up to the points, like when he was up there in the points, he couldn't catch up to them for in the years. It was when he was in Lassetti when he last won it. He dominated that as well, didn't he?
Makes you wonder whether that's the same problem Andy Jordan's having, because he seems to be chasing. You know, they've done something different. The setup in that car, because it was a car transformed for race 3. There's no two ways about it. It looked racy in race 3. It didn't before. It looked like it was going round before.
And there's a problem for Jack Goff as well, is that he looked sort of normal. He didn't look like his, like what we didn't see at Brands Hatch and at Donington. He wasn't fighting up there in the top 5 of that. He looked average in OULTON.
Yeah. For me, he's another one he reminds me very much of Tom Onslow Cole. Great driver, absolutely, really, really talented. But you can see him ending up in GT racing and not ending up with a big break in one of the big major teams.
I thought you were going to see number 2 driver to the team.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be. He deserves to be a team leader for me, but don't think he's going to get that opportunity. I don't think the doors are going to open for him, and I don't know why.
I mean, he's been knocking on the door for a first run, and it will come. Obviously, definitely, it will definitely come. But with me saying that he's a number 2 driver, and you saying about Tom Onslow, I was just thinking back to the Silverstone moment as well, when he was teammates with Chilton, and he let Chilton by at the start-finish line to give him the win. That was
but sometimes you paid for that because a BTCC drive's not cheap. So if someone's paying for it, and they've said you're number 1 driver, you're number 2 driver, come find your feet and we'll sponsor you, you would pull over.
But I just hope there is no team orders in that team, because Jack Goff is a good racer.
I don't think Andy Jordan would want team orders in that team.
No, I don't think anyone would have team orders in any team.
No, I'm not sure about BMR.
I'm not sure about Honda as well, because if they have one driver that's legitimately going for the championship, whether it's Matt Neal or Shedden, they'll give way to Shedden and Neal to give him that extra point to get closer to getting to the championship.
If there is team orders at BMR, Aaron Smith definitely didn't get the memo. Aaron is a unique character. All I can say, without saying too much, is there was a driver whose name rhymes with Aaron Smith that was seen sprinting, and I'm not talking about walking, I'm talking about sprinting back to the team truck to demand the telemetry of all the other BMR drivers. He wanted to know exactly what they were doing and exactly what was going on with the setup and exactly what was happening with every other member of that team BMR. He's gonna come strong in the second half of the season. He really will.
Just imagine him a BMR podium. 1, 2, 3. It might be Snetterton, because he does all right at Snetterton, doesn't he? He's won there before.
Yeah, I can see there being tears before bedtime there. I can see all 3 of them running at the front.
Yeah.
Till the second corner.
Yeah, I would see that as well.
And then there's going to be a whole heap of people not using the brake pedal.
Especially for the guy that's in 3rd.
It's bad because the doctor normally follows the drivers all around to check the safe. At that meeting, he just parks up in corner 2 just because it's easier. Just let them deliver them to him. I think it's the only one where he sits in the gravel trap with the doors open and the stretchers out.
Oh, look, someone's in the car. Quick, go.
Yeah. I've got to say as well, one other from the support races, two standout drivers, MSA Formula, Lando Norris and Ricky Collard. Ricky Collard, what a driver. What an absolute, he's a brave boy. He really is. He was trying to overtake people on the outside, the inside, probably everything. He was really just a class above. There was he will end up driving in touring cars, that boy. Mark my words. When I think when Rob Collard finally hangs up his race helmet, he's just going to hand it. He's preparing that seat for Ricky Collard.
I was maybe thinking about maybe a single-seater career for Ricky Collard.
You see, I think the thing with Ricky Collard is if somebody asked me right now, is Ricky Collard and Lando Norris fast enough for F1? The answer is yes, by a country mile. Lando Norris especially, right? But will they get the backing and the sponsorship to get there?
That's the hard thing. That's the thing. I think Lando could probably do GP3. I think that's where Seb Morris is there now, isn't he? He's in GP3.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Lando Norris and Ricky Collard could do something like Renault World Series 3.5 and score points. I don't think they could win a race in that, but they'd score points regularly.
It's just something in Lando Norris that I think that he's probably going to dominate. And like, if he's still going to continue doing single seaters, I think he's going to completely dominate. I would say. I think it's just his driving he's so clean. You know, he's not a guy that will defend his position. Like, if you're passing him on the inside, he'll give you room. Like, he won't fight you for it. As I seen it in Thruxton when he got passed by Collard, I think it was at Church. He just gave him the inside. He never battled with him. He just let him by. You know, just a very clean racer and also a very mature racer as well for his age.
Yeah, I mean,
very mature.
I know for a fact that I've got a friend of mine who I do endurance karting with, and she basically was saying that she's raced against Lando Norris in karts and doing different things, and every single time he just disappears. There's no catching him. And I mean, my friend's no slouch, really is no slouch at all.
He's a world champion, you know. He's a go-karting world champion.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's night and day, you know. And it's drivers like that the BRDC will push, and they have that MSA Rising Star and all that bit and whatever. And I know Tom Ingram's been involved with that as well. And, you know, that kind of stuff. They seem to get them into national series. I don't really think they've ever really got any. You know, you look at the people who've won the Autosport McLaren F1 drive. You know,
who's won them?
Oh,
who's actually won them?
Well, won them, and actually, I mean, Oliver Turvey was the last one who's actually got, you know, was a part of McLaren's setup. Gary Parfitt was another one. They tended to end up at McLaren. There's none of these. They're not really pushing these new drivers for it. I know Seb Morris has been for it a couple of times, hasn't he? He's been for it the last couple of years and hasn't quite made the cut, you know. And it's they take the drivers and they win, you know, but they don't seem to. I think Formula One is all about money now, and which is why I'm such a big BTCC fan. You don't need much money. Me and you could go and set up a BTCC team right now. As long as we'd got, I'd say, anywhere between £5 and £7 million to throw at it, because each driver entry is about £500,000 but the rest of it is team personnel, the actual, you know, getting everything there. You could actually sponsor it from there, and it's just a lot of money to find for 1 year. Right.
So what we'll do, if we want to make this team, go and get £1, spend it on the national lottery, and hope we win it.
Mate, honestly, if we do that right, we have to call a team around the bend racing. You do realise that, don't you? Okay, who would drive for us then?
We had this before, didn't we?
I'd
Stefan Hodgetts.
I'd Stefan Hodgetts and Paul O'Neill for me, mate. But to be fair, Josh Cooks impressed me that much. I'd have to have a serious look at that boy and have a look at his contract. There's no two ways about it. I'd love to run 3 cars. Mind you, if you've won the lottery, mate, we're running 5 cars. I mean, you're going to sit at the back of the grid as well.
What's that? I'll race it. I'll be like Warren Scott.
Mate, seriously. Right, I don't think you'd be that bad. I'm only joking. I'm
good.
Honestly, I take the mickey out of Warren Scott a lot. I respect the guy. Don't get me wrong, but like, he's doing exactly what I'd do in the team. I'd slip myself on the grid and whatever. But no, not when there's other drivers who can't get a drive that deserve a drive. You shouldn't. There's certain people who really should make way for, you know, the fact that he's on the grid and Alan Menu isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I was sat there going, right, surely this is going to be fireworks now, because it's going to be Turkington, Aaron Smith, Plato, Alan Menu. What? Alan Menu's in
Question mark.
Not racing. How does that work?
Also, as well, Motorbase, it's not going to be long until we see them back on the grid with their drivers, Jackson and who else? Oh, who was that?
Honestly, and do you want me to tell you something, Sean? You've hit the nail on the head right there. That's the problem with Motorbase. They had the fan base with the Airwave sponsorship and all that lot there. They've been away too long. They're going to have to start from ground zero again and build it. They're a fantastic team and they build fantastic cars. But can you see them getting involved in the title fight now? As in trying to take place, you know. Well, I could see Matt Jackson running at the front. And
I can see Jackson running at the front. Whether he's going to fight for a championship, no.
No,
he'll be there, but he won't win it.
No. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I really wanted them guys in for the full season. Because I do genuinely believe Matt Jackson should win a title. Yeah,
oh yeah, he should, yeah.
It's just the sheer competition that's at that level.
But the thing, what else supposed me?
And again, another one. You know, you are Warren Scott. That's another one you could have stuck in the car straight away and just guaranteed the team championship.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, going back to me, but Motorbase as well, is I don't know why they've missed the opening few like half races when they've got cars in the British GT as well and in the Blancpain endurance racing. So why have they not put like a touring car from the first round?
Because of the money and the team and everything else. You can't have your best mechanics working at Zolder doing a GT round and be at Brands Hatch on the same day, or for example, you can't have that amount of mechanics in the same place at the same time.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
And it's also sponsorship as well. They lost the Airwave sponsorship, and the reason they dropped out in the first place is they couldn't find another sponsor.
But it would be good to see them back on the track, anyways.
They honestly, they deserve a spot on the grid, and they deserve a spot right at the front of the grid. But I think they're coming back to a different. They're coming back to a different touring car championship now. Is it me, or has the last few rounds got a lot cleaner?
They have been a lot cleaner, especially from Throxton. You didn't want to cause an accident, you know, particularly at the fast part of the track. Obviously, Matt Neal did cause a few at Throxton. And OULTON, yeah, it was. You know, it's just a few drivers going off, apart from the occasional, you know, teammates colliding. It has been genuinely clean, and I wish there was a bit more contact in the touring cars, because that's what it's all about, you know, racing hard and little contact here and there, get drivers wound up. And
I seriously think it's been very clean at the moment, which means the last 5 or 6 rounds are going to be explosive.
End of season bash. It's Brand Hatch.
Yeah, I can say. Okay, here's one for you then. And it always narrows it down to 3 fighting for the championship. Which 3 do you think are going to be fighting for the championship come Brand Hatch final round?
Plato.
That's the reason I asked the question, because it's going to be Jason Plato, but who? I honestly,
it's going to be a Honda driver. There's going to be a Honda driver.
I think it's going to be Shedden.
Yeah, I would see Shedden as well. Matt,
I'm hoping it's Matt Neal as well, but Shedden, something about Shedden, he seems to want it this year. Really want it this year.
But the third one's going to be difficult, because it could be Turkington, it could be Matt Neal, it could be Jordan, it could be a bit of a dark horse. I'd say Adam Morgan.
Yeah, and I'm not joking now. Adam Morgan now, you know, he seems to be finding his feet more and more with every single round, of the car's going better and better as well. It was noticeably a difference in that car between race 1 and race 3.
Yeah, and it was the same as well for last year. You know, very consistent. You know, he just got to grips with the Mercedes, and
so on to the next round then, because I know we've been going for some time, so we'll have to wind this one up soon.
I think it's another 1 hour and 20 minutes, is it?
Yeah, it is, mate, or else we'll be struggling to upload it. And then evidently we'll edit this down as well, and perhaps remove the Warren Scott quote, just so we don't get sued. There we go. I love Warren, really, and it's all banter and it's all fun. He is a good driver. It's just, you know, it's like having a pub five-a-side team and going, right, I'm going to play up front. We've got Messi on the bench, you know. You know what I mean? It's like you just wouldn't do it, would you?
You're just like a fat manager, and you're like, right, I'm going to play instead of Messi.
I did not call Warren Scott a fat manager. That's 100% on you, bro.
So I went it out.
Well, that's the Team BMR sponsorship gone anyway, so only another load of teams to go.
That's us in our bad books now.
Yeah. We might want to cut all this section out. Yeah, so the what was I going to say now? Croft, going on to there. What do you see? I think the Honda's going to be really strong at Croft. Yeah,
I think the Hondas are suited to Croft as well, but again, maybe look out for Plato. Look out for Turkington. It's definitely a much more different track than what it was at Oulton Park. I think the racing. Isn't Croft also a narrow track as well?
Isn't it a what? Sorry.
A narrow track like Oulton.
It is. They got the hairpin, haven't they, going on to the start-finish straight with Croft?
Yeah, that's.
And they have a lot of issues with people taking out the tyres on the.
Oh yeah, sunny in and sunny out, and
yeah,
that part of the track.
Yeah. But I you know, again, predictions for Croft for me are, I think Plato will win race 1.
Plato will start on the pole.
Yeah, and win race 1. And then
get the fastest lap on lap 3. Get himself pole for race 2.
Yeah, and then I think the next 2, I'm gonna stick my neck out and say Shedden for races 2 and 3.
What? So you're saying like the ball draw, he'll get a win there even if he starts either 6th to 10th.
I honestly think that you're gonna see going forward a new Shedden. I really do think he's got the bit between his teeth. He really has. He got all the engineers in the pit at Oulton at the end of race 3, and he was not looking a happy puppy. He was not looking a happy puppy at all. And they were pulling that car pieces, and they weren't pulling the car pieces for like pack it away. They were pulling the car pieces to make improvements on it.
Yeah.
And we stayed with Annie from the fan group for a good 2 or 3 hours after we watched the F1 in Checkers restaurant after. And when we left, all the other trucks were gone, apart from Honda. They were still there pulling that car apart. They were doing lots of work on that car.
It just shows you their commitment that they want to win the championship and not let Plato win it.
They want the manufacturers to win. They want the manufacturer to win. Here's an interesting one for you. If BMR do win it, let's face it. Yeah, I have a wind up about having the faster drivers on there and whatever. But you've got to give a round of applause to Warren Scott for sticking that team together. I mean, what a genius move that was, and how he's built it up is great. Mm-hmm. Do you think the performance of that team will attract VW in?
Oh, quite possibly. And then there'll be like a manufacturing team,
sell a lot of cars in the UK.
But would they keep the car though? Would they actually keep the same car, or would they go for a different VW?
It's a VW. Why broke what's already done? It's helping them sell Passats, which, let's face it, aren't Golf GTIs. They aren't the what you naturally think.
Boy street racing cars.
Yeah. So you'd sell a lot more cars to the of that particular make and model.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I'd love to see that again. I missed the Seat days. I really do. Their whole approach to how they dealt with fans was amazing. They had a separate fan village. They had bands on. It was an event. Just going to see the Seat Garage was an event, and we haven't seen that since since that at all. And I mean that that whole championship, the Seat Cupra Championship that went round as well. The drivers that come out of that championship. I mean that's where Shedden started his career. And it's
Stefan Hodgetts as well. Rob Hoff.
Yeah.
Tom Boardman.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I also remember James Pickford.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot from him now these days.
No, and it's a real proving ground. And I think some big manufacturer could come in and actually do something like that next season. There's something happening with British touring cars. I have never been to a British touring car meeting before where so many helicopters were landing.
Would that be because of the drivers that have a helicopter?
No. As well as that, I mean, there was a lot of people looking very rich with very, very big cars. You normally see them at British GT meetings. You go to a British GT meeting, the pits are full. The where you park your car is full of Aston Martins, Ferraris, all the usual stuff. Never seen that at a BTC meeting.
Yeah.
It's not. It's. I've never seen that before. This meeting, I've never really seen that. You used to perhaps see one Ferrari in the paddock. I mean, there's a field full of them. It's just a lot of sponsors are looking at the British touring cars. Very, very interesting. But Croft's going to be the next one. So our plan for that will be a preview. We will do a preview for that again.
And also, because it's halfway point of the season as well, maybe we could actually give the drivers our rating, like who's been like the star.
I am loving that.
Yeah, like we'll give like Turkington maybe a B- or whatever.
Yeah, what we ought to do as well is we ought to have a. Shall we do it like Strictly Come Dancing and have
like lollipop thingies like 7?
Yeah. and a you or Alan Gow prize for the winner. And then what we ought to do is make something out of paper mache and present it to a driver at the end of the season.
So if you go like to Brands Hatch and just saying, right, Andy, you've won this. So we did this out of sticky back plastic, and Blue Peter experience.
I'm going to go and buy something from. I tell you what we'll all to do. Is we always get like signed stuff and whatever. We're kind of geeks like that.
Yeah.
Why don't we present them a signed photo of us?
With our signatures, just like
you've got that what's it one there, the MG one with all the drivers on.
Oh, where is it? Oh, yeah, here they are. Right.
What we're going to do, Rob, is we're going to recreate that picture. So there'll be me
like that.
There'll be me drinking a brew, you playing darts. We'll just Photoshop a load of stuff together and present it to the winning driver in a frame. You run me around
in a lovely picture frame as well. It says keep that for the rest of your life. Memento.
Yeah, we'll see Davy from the BTCC fan group. We'll see him and see if we can he can find us a suitable frame. That boy's got frames everywhere. So yeah, that's a good one. All right then. So shall we do for this till Croft then, mate?
And also as well, we might have a special guest.
We are going to have a special guest. There is plans afoot by the Scottish end of this equation to get a driver in. Now, he wants to reveal it, and I'm saying what we should do is...
I'm not going to reveal it. No.
I think what we should do is the drivers very kindly agreed to speak to us. I think we should do the interview, get it in the can, then broadcast it, rather than saying we're going to do it just in case something happens as we can't make it happen in time for Croft.
Yeah. No, I actually thought I messaged this driver and he says we're going to probably do one after the Croft meeting. So would you be available then? He says, yeah, I should be fine. So
cool. So is he? I was just going to say, is he going to be available before Croft?
Oh, I only said after Croft.
Okay. I honestly believe we could get Andy Jordan as well at some point. It's just every time I got anywhere near him, somebody from Team Paytech was whisking him off. I got really close to Matt Neal, and then somebody barged in front of me with a media pass because I was so close to getting an interview with him. It was unreal.
And I would like to get an interview as well with Kieran Gallagher, because she says he's quite a comedian and quite a character.
Kieran, I was with him for about 3 minutes in total, but he had me in stitches for 2 of them. He was just a very, very funny guy. I think the mission from Around the Bend now is before the end of the season is to speak to every driver. We need to start sending some emails out and getting them in.
Right, I want to Aidan Moffat.
Yeah, let's get Aidan in. To be honest with you, Aidan are most probably the first one we could go for because of our links with him with the fan group, obviously through Annie. So
yeah, heavily linked with her, and also with Elizabeth as well.
Yeah. Cool. What I will say is the usual. We've ranted and raved. We're going to edit this down. We're looking forward to Croft. We're at halfway point in the season at that point. It's getting really exciting now. As always, please let us know what you think about this. Good, bad. We'll try and do whatever it is you want to do on the Facebook group. Keep the Facebook group updated. If you're visiting any of the BTCC rounds and you can shoot any video or any photographs or anything like that, we will use it and credit you for it and everything else. And also, we'd love to have other people from the group on this very show. So please message us, get in contact with us. We can have up to 10 people on one of these calls. It would be great midpoint of the season to actually have some other people from the fan forum to do some stuff. We need to have a chat about that off air and work out what's happening.
Should we do like another question for the BTCC fans group page as well? Because we ain't done that in a while, didn't we?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what we ought to do. We will make the question. We'll get them to pick the scores for our driver scoring for midpoint of the season. It's now midpoint of the season. Who is your best driver? Who's your worst driver? Score them out of 10.
Yeah. Who's been biggest improvement? Who's been a total disappointment as well?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to vote in that.
I've got a few.
Yeah.
No one in particular.
Yeah, no one in particular. We ought to get the Alan Gow. I'm also putting out my vote out there for the Paul O'Neill Make You Laugh Your Socks Off award. To which mine has to definitely be to Kieran Gallagher, because that was just funny. Right. Well, if we go on, Sean.
I was going to say, why not just have like they have these Autosport awards and have the people smartly dressed? What about do Around the Bend awards?
Around the Bend awards, and what we'll do
have to dress up all smartly and all that. And a Google chat.
I'll put the cards with Around the Bend. You join us from the group. I'll tell you what I'm going to try. I'll tell you what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and see. That's what we're going to have to do. I wonder whether we can both get to a local ballroom that's got Wi-Fi. And just have a massive hotel lottie with the lectern and everything, just going. And the awards for this are. The nominations for this are.
Just get like the stand with the microphones and then just have 2 laptops with your face and my face on it.
Yeah, just like, 2 on and film it in. Awesome. The delay, an awesome lag, but yeah, great lottery, mate. That would work. Right then, so if we do the outro now, then, mate, and then we're almost ready for Edsy, then, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. So we're looking forward to Croft. It's going to be an exciting race. As always, keep an eye on the BTCC fan group for all the latest. And until next time, I was just going to say, Sean's waving a minion at me off air. Go on, Sean, say something.
It's waving bye. It's waving bye-bye.
Okay, so Sean's replaced himself with a minion for the outro. So
there'll be another person next week as well that we'll see bye.
Hopefully we've got this driver coming on for us for the next one. So until the next time, this has been Around the Bend. I've been Bart.
I've been Sean.
Go on, mate. Say that again so they can see you.
And I've been Sean.
And
we'll work on the ending.
We've always got a weak finish. Like I said, until next time,
enjoy the British Touring Car Championship and stay with Around the Bend.